This is the unboxing and first impressions of the Gerber Fastball with the cleaver blade. Currently, as it stands, they haven't hit the stores yet, but you can custom build one through the Gerber Custom Shop, and that's what I've done. I do not believe these come in the 20 CV metal variant for the blade, so right now I think they're shipping out at S30V. I believe that's right. We'll take a look when we look at the knife, but I had ordered this from Gerber and did a few customizations on it. They sent a picture with the customizations. So that's what the knife is supposed to look like. We're going to see this together. So I haven't inspected the knife to see if there's any quality problems or anything. In the packaging, you get kind of this. It's like a bandana type deal, but it's real small, so it's not going to be the same size as a standard bandana or handkerchief, which. Yeah, I like to keep one of those around, especially nowadays. So if a business requires you have a mask or something, you can just tie that around your face and it works. But this would be too small for that. So this is kind of just like a smaller version of a handkerchief or that sort of thing. It's not microfiber. It's just standard bandana material. And then you get this sticker, which I guess this is kind of the Gerber logo for this new line of product or whatnot. So this is the box. Again, I haven't opened it. It says Fastball Custom on it with a number. And so we're going to give this thing a look, and then I'll do some size comparisons real quick. I don't want to waste much of your time. So, tape on it. This is the Quiet Carry IQ. Let me see. Here we go. Let's see what we got here. Oh yeah. So that's what it looks like. That's kind of a darker, I kind of like that better, but that's kind of a darker shade than our finish than what was on the picture. Picture made it look a little brighter. And some documentation in a desiccant pack. And a zip tie. Let's see if we can't get through that. It's a thick zip tie, man. There we go. Yowzer. So you can customize it out any way you want to. I opted for not much. I didn't. They didn't have the black hardware in stock. It's interesting that one is. It's strange, but the rest of it is silver. But you can do the pivot in black or silver. And the hardware in silver. The back spacer I did upgrade from a plastic to an aluminum spacer. This is an aluminum knife, and it's kind of hefty. I mean, it's definitely not heavy, but it's not super light. You know, compared to like the IQ, it's super light with the titanium scales. This is aluminum scales. I don't know the difference in weight, but so anyway. But first impressions looks pretty good. So those are really the only upgrades I did was a custom anodization job and the back spacer. And then, of course, you picked your blade shape. So instead of the standard shape, I went with the cleaver so I could have a cleaver. So let's take a look at it. It had a good D10 on it right off the bat. The edge is, got some grind marks there, so it's not polished off or anything. Decent edge, though. It's fairly sharp. I don't know if it would actually shave right out of the gate. It does, somewhat. So very workable right out of the gate. Lockup looks pretty good. Let's turn it sideways. And can you... Actually, let me get that. There's your lockup right there. Kind of a strange deal. The blade is nice, though. Really, really big. Let's see if it has, there's your blade centering, which I don't know how I'm there we go. That's not too bad. See it there. See if I can get it in the light, and not too bad. So there it is, first impressions. I'm not, I'll have to carry it for a while to really kind of form an opinion on this. So I don't know how that goes. That's a big footprint right there. That's an inch, at least an inch thick right there. So it's going to take up some pocket space for sure. And then it's the flipper tab is kind of large as well. So again, with that, that's really easy though. That the detent is kind of strong, so that deployment is really easy. Kind of sounds strange, but it's not. It's not rubbing on anything. Kind of an interesting sound. It is S30V stamped on the blade there, which is what I remembered. But exciting to see, American-made cleaver flipper, a fairly small package. Now I'm going to do just a few comparisons for you, size comparisons, so you can kind of see where this thing falls. I'll do some of the more common ones first. So this is, that is the Fastball with the cleaver blade. This is Ontario Rat Model 1. So you can kind of see it's a little bit longer than the Model 1. I also have just a few to compare with, kind of in the same size range. Oh, I can put that. Here's the Quiet Carry IQ, which is going to be smaller. And this is the Kershaw Leak. The Kershaw Leak is roughly the same size. Leak's maybe just a little bit longer, but if you look at thickness though, thickness is the thing. That thing is thick, dude. Like compared to this Leak, this is trying to cut myself, but this Leak is quite a bit thinner than this Fastball is. And then of course, if you look at the Leak versus or the Rat 2 versus this thing, this is about the width of the Rat 2. Which is not a thin knife by any means. So just a couple of more in that category. This is the small Sebenza 21. And so kind of put that in there and see. Sebenza's shorter, but the cutting edges look almost identical. The Sebenza is also kind of a thick knife for that size, for this size category. That 3-inch blade, so it's about the same width as a Sebenza. And then the Sebenza is lighter. It feels lighter. This just feels kind of heavy. I don't know if it's because of the blade. There's so much metal on the blade. It does feel a little bit. The Sebenza feels. When you pick that up, the balance is more towards the center. This is definitely, the balance is definitely I don't know. It just feels a little heavy. Heavier than I thought it would be. Definitely not heavy. I don't want to corrupt you. And then, of course, also in this category is the Delica. The Delica, about the exact same size. Looks like just about exactly the same size and the same cutting edge. This has less belly than the Delica. But basically the same. The Delica, I believe, is going to be thinner by a little bit. So that's interesting, but this is very Delica sized. So that's kind of some size comparisons on that size. And then what we'll do is I can give you just a couple of size comparisons on some larger knives. Oh, I have one more. It's kind of in between. It's the Bug Out. The Bug Out is, it's, yeah, look at that. I mean, that's about the same size as a Bug Out. Of course, if you know the Sebenza is very similar in size to the Bug Out, so that's not a surprise that these are all kind of the same. The small Sebenza handles shorter, of course, on the Sebenza, but they're all kind of the same size. This thing looks very similar in length to the Bug Out, but of course, the Bug Out is going to destroy it on width, of course. So this thing is going to be. Let me not cut myself, and it's going to be quite a bit thicker than the Bug Out. So that's kind of your 3-inch knife size comparisons. Now more for like full size comparisons. Of course, the Rat 1 is quite a bit larger. The PM2 is going to be quite a bit larger. Quite a bit larger. The 940 quite a bit larger. Looks like, almost an inch larger. And then, let's see, any other popular ones? Maybe not. those are kind of the most popular full size knives that I own. I guess if you wanted to compare it versus like an XM18, but I don't know why you would. That's a different category of knife, but that's obviously way bigger as well. But this knife is, I would classify this knife in that bug out small Sebenza category. It's not tiny. It's not like a quiet carry IQ, which I really like carrying that knife around because it's just so small and so small, compact. See, the footprint's quite a bit bigger than the IQ. So I wouldn't put those in the same category. Oh, one more knife that I actually pulled out of a roll, just to kind of compare, would be this. Again, this sound is kind of strange. We get that is bizarre. Is a copper lock. I figured, people have copper locks, and this thing is not as large as a copper lock. The standard case copper lock it looks like about a 1/4 inch longer than this thing. So this is not a big knife by any means. I mean, look at it versus the Model 1. If I just go tip to tip or end to end over on this side, I mean, it's quite a bit of difference in length. So this thing is not big at all. But, one more that kind of reminds me of the same category. I paid $150 for this knife because I think the base price was just like $120 or something, and then the customizations with the anodization, the back spacer, the blade shape, that sort of thing, bumped the price up to about $150, like $149 or something like that after taxes, free shipping. This knife is very similar in size. This is the ZT. I have forgotten. This is the. What is that? I don't know that blade. What is that blade? I don't know. But look at this. That is a good comparison. ZTO 450CF. Yep, that's it. Took me a while to remember that. The 0450CF. Yeah, the 0450 is real popular as well. So that's look at that. That is the same size. That is the same size. And then if you compare the width of these two knives, I bet you they're going to be pretty close too, because they feel kind of close. No, actually, the ZT is thinner. This thing is thicker, and I think that I'm sure it's like any other fastball, but I've never owned a fastball. I played with one once in a knife store, but I've never owned one. But the backspacer, or not the backspacer, but the liner here on one side, it looks like it's aluminum all the way through. You can kind of see the. Actually, let me just quickly. Sorry, I'm not prepared. Grab a flashlight. You can see that it's anodized on the inside all the way through. That anodization pattern goes all the way through. So this side is just an aluminum scale, and this side has a steel liner on the inside, I'm assuming, for the lock. Yeah. And then for the liner lock, and then the aluminum on top of that. It's that steel liner lock, or steel liner, and it looks solid. It does not look milled or anything. So let me see on the inside. That is obviously adding to the weight for sure. Yep, not milled at all. So that full steel liner is adding to the weight and adding to the thickness for sure. But like I said, I don't think that it's heavy. I don't think that it's big, but it's definitely a surprise that it's a little heftier than I thought it would be. I thought it would be very light, and it is light, but it's not very light for sure. So that's my initial impressions and some size comparison on some common knives for the Gerber Fastball Cleaver. And like I said, it's not available yet at stores, but it is available through the custom shop. You'll just be getting it in S30V because they don't have a 20CV option. Maybe the 20CV, original 20CV announcement was optimistic, and they'll roll it out with S30V. I don't know, because they're obviously already cutting these blades in S30V. So I'm not sure what will hit the stores when they actually come out with a production rollout. But this, I'm sure they just have a lot of pieces, and they're just putting it together in their new custom shop. They just have buckets of components. You pick what you want. Somebody pieces the thing together, give it a good look over, and QC, and then they send it out to you. But I will say this, man, I am initially impressed with the quality control and the build of this thing just by me and you looking at it together. It's the first I've been exposed to this, but the detent is very good, even though that sound is weird. It is kind of strange that there's gaps in here. I'm sure this is running on bearings. I don't know if we can see that, but it looks to be bearings. Yeah, it definitely is bearings. Let me see if you can. There's balls. See those? See the bearing balls in there? For sure. So it kind of sets off of the liner there just a little bit, which is kind of strange. And then you've got a gap on the top side of the scale as well. You've got a gap. So that's kind of strange. Again, adding to the thickness of this knife, it is thick. I don't know if that's because of the aluminum spacer upgrade or what, but it is thick. And exposing those balls like that, having that gap so much, you're going to get pocket lint and stuff in there. You'd get that anyway, but you're going to get more pocket lint and stuff in there. But the action is good. And overall, I'm pretty happy with this, man. And I'll carry it around for a while and then maybe post another video about my impressions. But I just wanted to get this video out there because I have had a lot of interest in this knife. And this knife has not gotten a lot of exposure on YouTube because there's just not been a lot to cover there that nobody has, they haven't released it. But there is a way to get it now, even though they haven't released it. And that is through the Gerber Custom Shop, which you can do through the online. I ordered this on 5/27. Today is June 9th. No, today is June 12th. Today is June 12th, but I received this package a couple of days ago. I received it on the 10th. So I ordered it on the 27th of May, and I received it on June 10th. So that's kind of the turnaround time for the custom shop, including shipping. So here in the U.S. anyway. So that is, initial impressions of the Gerber Fastball Cleaver blade. I'm excited about it. I'm going to carry it around. And in a couple of weeks, maybe I'll check in and kind of let you guys know, if there are any issues with this knife. So there you have it. God bless you.